Welcome back. Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and boy, do I have a treat for y'all today. What you're looking at right here is, it's not going to be a review, but just an overview of the knife and the company that made this knife. And what you have in front of you today is a Todd knife and tool Raptor XL prototype number 1. And Todd Knife and Tool is a company made of Seth Todd and Terrell Todd. As most of y'all might already know, Terrell is Zelric42 on Instagram and YouTube. And you can also check out their Instagram at Todd Knife and Tool as well. And I've had the pleasure, last year I met Zelric at Blade Show, and we've pretty much hit it off ever since. And I like to call him a good friend. And this knife right here was designed about 2 years ago, and the reason why they started the whole Todd Knife and Tool is because they were looking for a certain type of knife, and they just couldn't find a knife that had everything that they wanted in a knife. So they both decided, hey, why don't we just create our own? I think that's a great idea. And one of the most amazing things is, and at least in my eyes, because I've been dabbling with knife making myself and doing modifications and stuff. It's no easy task, and making a frame lock is definitely no easy task, especially making one and getting it right. So they came up with this guy, the Raptor XL. They wanted a hard use knife that could be used in pretty much any setting, that still remained ergonomic, lightweight, nice and slender in the pocket, slim, slender, and just function in every which way. And after carrying and using this guy for a little over a week now, I'm absolutely mind blown. And I'm not saying this because they're my friends or anything like that. I told them I would give my honest opinions, and to know this is a prototype. This is a very rough prototype done 2 years ago, but this knife has been carried, used, and abused for the last 2 years and still functions excellent. And the first time I saw a rendering or drawings of this knife, I wasn't really blown away at first sight. Once I put this guy in pocket, once I put it in hand, the light bulb went off, and I understood. I understood what they were going for, and I think they absolutely nailed it. It takes a lot to get me really excited about a certain knife, but when things are done right and everything functions and all that meshes together, it's awesome. Awesome. And also, if you haven't, for some reason, haven't heard of Todd Knife and Tool, and you happen to catch my Blade Show coverage, you would have seen at the Wii booth their first production knife that will be hitting the market hopefully here soon. I think kind of toward Christmas. Don't quote me on that, but it was the Roxy, and that was the littler guy. To me, it was something that's going to replace the Spyderco Techno, and that's for me personally. I absolutely love that knife. You'll hear me gushing about it if you go back and watch that video. I'll try to leave a link to that video as well, so you can see what that knife looks like, and kind of see they definitely have some design characteristics that are noticeable throughout some of their knives, which I think is a great thing. You want to really set yourself apart from the rest, and you're not just making a knife that looks like every other knife out there. Let's see. Let's kind of start diving into it. And like I said, this is a rough prototype. It wasn't something that is supposed to be a finished product. They wanted something that they could carry and use and see if their concept worked in an actual hard, tangible object. So go into this blade, you have a nice Warncliffe blade. You got some nice point for piercing. You have decent thickness stock. I would say that's probably 4 millimeter over stock. So like I said, it's geared to be that hard use, every type of use knife. You have a saber ground blade on here. You got dual fullers on both sides. And one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the fullers are done, in my eyes, when I see fullers, this is how I like to see them, because as you can see, they're not very deep fullers whatsoever. As you can see, that little lip, they're not very deep, but they do, first off, they allow them to shave a little weight, and they also give you some extra means of opening this knife. You can deploy this in several different manners, and I love multi opening methods. You can see you can see their logo right there. I'm not sure if that's the logo that they'll use further down the road. I'm pretty sure that's the one on the Roxy. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments section, Zelric. And flip it up right here. You got nice chamfering going on the top. That kind of gives it a crowned effect and just aesthetically pleasing to me, at least. You got your blade hole. We'll talk about that later on, and why the placement right here. This hole right here is not, they told me it's not real, that wasn't really meant to be there. That was their first time trying to figure out doing the chamfers, so that they did that hole to start the chamfering. Understandable. You have a full forward finger choil right there, and you also have a nice little ramp right here. So whenever you're gripping like this, you got a very nice locked in grip if you needed to do some thrust type motion or some power cutting. And you can choke back right here. You really get a lot of leverage. And let me give y'all some quick specs, because this is no small knife whatsoever. And keeping in mind that this is a, let's see, 9 5/8 inch long knife. 9 5/8 inch long. That's a pretty substantial size. You got a 4 1/4 inch blade, massive blade on there. You have a 4-inch cutting edge. Awesome. That's awesome. And you have about a 5 1/2 inch handle. So like I said, this is in my eyes, a massive knife. And all that said, let's check the weight on this guy, which I was pretty impressed, because in pocket, the type of knives I have to carry, pretty much if they're not, slender and like kind of slim, they tend to, do crazy stuff in my thin pockets that I have to wear. And this knife totally threw me off. I did not expect it to ride the way it did. 5.36 ounces for almost a 10 inch knife. That's absolutely outstanding. Like I said, it's not a featherweight, but could you expect it to have a 4 1/4 inch blade? No. Let's see. We talked about the two, the forward finger choil, the ramp. Let's close this guy up. You have a very non-obtrusive flipper tab that works like a charm. And another cool thing that I noticed about the flipper tab is that when it rides in the pocket, as you can see, this line right here goes out right here, and in the pocket, that flipper tab disappears completely. So as you can see, your hand runs through it. You don't even notice that flipper tab's there. So all you flipper tab conscious people, you'll love this design, no doubt. Now this one, I don't know if this actual design is going to be produced or whatnot. Like I said, I'm just trying to give y'all a look at inside of Todd Knife and Tool, and I'm so blessed to be able to have the chance and opportunity to handle this knife. Let's close it back up again. You got some aesthetic holes right there, and all that stuff besides aesthetics is shaving weight. All these chamfers right here, yes, they look really good, very, very nice, but they're shaving the weight to keep this knife from being a 10-ounce knife. Your blade hole, your chamfer, all these chamfers, all that stuff is shaving weight off the knife. You got this forward choil, that's also taking weight off the knife. You can see they did a great job when you flip it. They did a great job of giving you a landing pad by chamfering two sides onto the titanium scales. Very, very nice. And there you go, some more weight saving. They did all the weight saving on the exterior of the knife, so you don't have to have any pockets in the inside, and you get your aesthetics along with that. Opening the knife with the blade hole. At first I was like, that's kind of odd. But once I started to use it, first off, they got indexing points on both sides. So whatever hand you want to open this up with, left or right-handed, you put your finger down there, you know where that hole is. Spidey flick is absolutely amazing, because whenever you spidey flick, a lot of times you got to put your finger in a weird spot. But whenever you grab this knife, you put your finger in that index point, and then boop, perfect. If you want to slow roll it, you can do that as well. For me, it doesn't matter if you have small, medium, large hands. I have medium-sized hands, and instead of having to come all the way out like that, what I do is you put your finger in there and then slide onto that blood groove, fuller, whatever you want to call it. So, like I said, perfect execution. Love it, love it. Love the multiple opening methods. You can flip it out, and I did that on the fuller. You can come back and, let's see, you can do it on the blade hole. With larger hands, the blade hole would be the way to go. Spidey flick it is very, very easy. You can spidey flick it pretty much anywhere down that blade. As you can see, you can catch that fuller with your fingernail very, very easily. And then, of course, the obvious deployment method, the flipper tab, the light switch works very, very nicely, and push button, you can rocket it out even quicker. I like the light switch methods. There's absolutely no thought involved. It's riding on ceramic bearings, ceramic detent. Let's dive into the hardware. This is a prototype, and they didn't, most of the time you see prototypes with just plain Jane pivots. They went with a nice decorative pivot. I think it looks nice. T8 hardware throughout, even the pocket clip, very, very nice. You don't have to change bits. The lanyard hole, even though I'm not a lanyard guy, I like the way it didn't break up the lines of the knife. It just kept everything flowing. And once again, I'm saving some weight here. Flip it up. You got a nice, interesting backspacer. At first glance, it looks like this is floating through there, because they got this nice deep chamfer right there. Once again, that's some more weight saving. Very, very conscious of shaving as much weight as possible. As you can see, prototype number 1. And I asked them, how many frame locks had they made before this one? And I think they could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was the 4th knife that they ever tried to produce to make, and 4 knives, and they nailed it. Lockup is absolutely solid. No play up or down, left or right. Bank vault solid. You got relief chamfers in there to get into that lock bar very easily. Very, very nice. Very, very smooth. I mean, this thing is super smooth. Then another thing, check out the tolerances. Look how tight that fit is. You don't have any crazy gaps, any wide gaps. I'm trying to see if I have any knives out right here. No, no wide gaps. The centering is dead on. It may look like it's to the right a little bit, but I think that's more of that grind. I'm not sure. The pocket clip flows. I like how they got the chamfered line here and here, and it makes the pocket clip kind of disappear in the design. Also, I don't know if this was done on purpose. I'm sure it was, because they, like I said, they thought this out really well. But if it's not a deep carry clip, this is how I want my clip to be. It sits nice and deep. You don't have much sticking out, but you have this like pad to grab onto. You're not pushing down the clip, creating more tension. You grab onto this portion right here, the clip, and pull it out of the pocket. It has good retention in the pocket. There's no wobble. It's wide enough to where it's stable. It sits a little bit to the side, so like I said, you get your hand in there, no problem whatsoever with this flipper tab. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything, because there's a lot of detailed things that they did for a reason that, you know, are overlooked so many times. Another thing, this blade coating, I forgot the type of coating it is, but it's a secret sauce with this coating that makes it nice and slick. So I was wondering, I was breaking down some boxes, and I was breaking down some thick boxes, and like I said, being this is a harder use knife, it's around 30 thousandths behind the edge, which, you know, is probably your average ZT behind the edge. And I was amazed on how well this thing glided through. And it has something to do with this coating. This coating's it's very slick, and it glides through, creating no friction, almost accelerating the cut. So that's all I really know about the coating. If that's something, you know, they may talk about whenever, you know, they release one of the knives with the coating on there. And I'll tell you what, this coating has held up pretty nice for 2 years of using this. You name it, if they needed a knife for it, this is the knife they used, whoever had it at the time. You know, as a shop knife, a work knife, it's been done. And all you have is these minor cosmetic. I don't think any of them went all the way down to the metal. Maybe there, but and right there, that's it. You know, that's pretty impressive. I'd definitely like to see this coating on more knives, especially the way it accelerated into the cuts. Let's talk about ergonomics, because at first, you know, when I saw this very slim design in the titanium scales, I was kind of afraid that it would be kind of uncomfortable when bearing down. You know, I did some wood shaving with this, and that's whenever, you know, I was like, it's probably going to hurt the bottom of my hands a little bit. But in this saber grip right here, I was able to put down a lot of force, no problems whatsoever. If you want to get up on that jimping, it's a little aggressive, but you don't have, like, for me, this right here is a sweet spot. Now, if you needed that extra traction and you came up here, you could use that. Now, it's not too aggressive to where I needed to put on gloves. I didn't really choke up to this portion whenever I was cutting through the wood. I basically was right here in the back side. Your pinch grips work really, really nicely, because you can grab onto that blade hole if you need to scrape something, whatever. And if you need to get up onto that blade, you can put your finger into that blade hole, and I put my finger right here, and you can do those little intricate cuts. Like I said, all that is thought out through their designs, and I definitely can't wait to see some of their production models come to fruition, especially this Roxy that's coming here soon. So this knife right here, it reminded me of a couple of knives, and it did some things just the same, and in my eyes it did some things a lot better. First knife is your Spyderco Military, just to give you a size reference as well. They're about the same exact size. Let's see, very close. If they're not the same exact size, they're very close. You have a little bit more handle on the Military. Let's see, as far as cutting edge, you have more cutting edge on the Raptor, and you both have forward finger choils on both of the knives. Now, of course, the Paramilitary is going to be lighter because it's G10 with just a little strip of steel as a lock bar right there. So this is going to be your lightest out of all of them. Another one that it reminded me of, just because of the slim factor, is your Spyderco K2. Now the K2's a good bit longer and a good bit wider, and I'll tell you, this is how I expected this knife to feel in hand, because they're both fairly slim, but this one's a good bit slimmer. This one's very blocky in hand, and it's not the most comfortable knife, especially like in the hammer grip and stuff like that. Just not an ergonomic knife. This on the other hand, it was a pleasure using this guy, to say the least. Let's see, some more size comparisons. Here's another stout, overbuilt knife, the Spyderco Tough. So as you can see, it dwarfs the Tough, especially in blade length. About the same handles though, size handles at least. Here's another one that it kind of reminded me of, especially, you know, keeping it slim, sleek, and lightweight for its size, and the different sizes, but just, you know, what this knife does for me, the Booz Blade Smoke. Now, it definitely dwarfs it. You could fit this knife inside of there, but this is not a hard use knife. This is like more so a gentleman's carry type knife, but just kind of giving you that frame of mind I'm thinking about. Another one, Spyderco Endura. There you go. This is an Endura on steroids. One more and I got two more. Got your Microtech MK6 sigil, and I want to get okay, you see how much bigger this is? Probably almost, it looks like about an inch longer in overall dimensions, and I want to see what weight difference, because this one doesn't feel that much heavier than this guy. But let's check it out. Very interested to see this. And this one has, let's see if I can show this real quick. This guy has internal milling pockets all up inside that knife. It has lightning pockets on the outside. You got big chamfers. You got a big old blade hole in there. So you'd think this guy would be a lot lighter than this guy. Let's see what the difference is on these two. 5.24, 5.37. That's crazy. I mean, just look at the difference. Yeah, big difference. One more shot. Open. Now, of course, the Raptor XL is a little bit thinner, but I mean, you're not sacrificing ergonomics with this handle. So I'm just kind of showing y'all some of the high points that I see in this knife. I really hope to see this one come out in a production form. And this is the Almar HD Eagle, I think it is, yeah. And just another slim, sleek knife. So my overall thoughts are Todd Knife and Tools rocking the game. I've seen and handled several of their designs. I have some that I absolutely love. Some are not so, not really my style as far as aesthetics, but they're not going to all be winners. And I will say, though, the Roxy that, like I said, hopefully will be coming out soon, that's being produced by that one is definitely going to be one that I'll be purchasing. It's a sub 3-inch, I think. Like I said, go check out my Blade Show video so you can get a good look at that. So overall, for being their 5th frame lock ever, outstanding. Outstanding. Look at this action. Look at that. Super smooth. Let's see the closing action. Whoop. Put itself to sleep. Multiple opening methods. I would love to see this guy in, say, a sub 3-inch. This guy, whoo, yeah, buddy. I don't know. They might even have that. I'm not sure. But, or maybe, I don't know. The Roxy has a wider blade. And he had one he sent a picture of me today that had me drooling at the mouth. So hopefully I'll be able to show more of their models. Hopefully I did this guy justice. Like I said, there's just so many intricate little details that, you know, at first glance you're like, what is that? What is it? It all has something to do. It's not just thrown on there. Like I said, that's not just thrown on there. That's to help you know whichever hand you want to use this knife with. That's something that me and Zelric talked about. I hate whenever a knife is you know, right hand specific. Like, you know, I like to be able to to take a knife and be able to function, to be able to use it left or right handed without having to think about it. You know, easily disengage that lock bar, easily be able to flip it, then throw it to the right hand. So that way I can carry it in whatever pocket I want, or it can be laying on a desk and I can pick it up because my right hand's being used with something, and I can pick it up with my left hand and use it without a problem. And they definitely nailed that as well. Your blade to handle ratio is really, really good. You don't have to worry about hitting that point whatsoever, and you definitely don't have to worry about hitting that edge because the backspacer is covering that up. So let me know what y'all think about this design. Let me know if y'all have seen the Roxy and what y'all think about it, if y'all are excited as I am about it. And let me know what y'all think about Todd Knife and Tool as a company. It's exciting to see one of our YouTube, a guy that we know from YouTube and Instagram starting their own, you know, their own knife company, and actually seeing some of their designs and being able to handle them. Hopefully y'all can check them out. If y'all go to Blade Show next year, you can check them out. You can talk to Zelric and his brother Seth. Both of them great guys, fun to hang out with, fun to talk to, and they know what they want in knives, and that's what they're doing. They're going to produce it. So hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. And if you have any questions for Zelric or Seth, you can leave those down below too. I'm sure they'd probably answer them for you down there. And there you go. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit that bell button so you don't miss any of the content. Always doing cool things. Try to give you at least 2, if not more, videos a week. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.